Hey there, this is Ben from Rava, and this is a video about how I took this product shot of a pair of Salomon shoes that I just took off the Farfetch website and used them to create not only this static shot and variations of this static shot, but this product video. Um, yeah, honestly, we've been really impressed by how easy it was to create this. This took me maybe 20 minutes of experimentation, and then the final actual flow, like the actual production of each final asset, is you could do it in under 2 minutes once you know exactly the process to find. And I'm going to show you everything we did right now. So yeah, this brief, the reason I put this together was because we do in our typical consulting sessions that we do where we try to upskill teams, we often get asked about creative tools. And I'm not personally a designer. I don't really know the Adobe Creative Suite at all, but I've been really, really impressed by how far you can go with a little bit of knowledge of the current gen image AI tools and how to think about, and a little bit of an understanding and intuition for how to piece them together and get the best out of each platform. So what I did with this was I knew I wanted to see how far I could go by taking a stock product shot that you can find on any website that's used to advertise the shoe. This is just what the shoe photo looked like on Farfetch. And think about, can I get really, really solid assets that if I was a smaller shoe company that wanted to compete with the huge budget Salomons and Adidas and Nikes of the world, how could I take the shots that we have to do and then rehash those assets and create interesting new visual assets out of them? So the tool you're looking at right now is Magnific, which is typically an image upscaler, but it's also got a really great feature called Relight, which basically allows you to take the style of a reference image, prompt, and then an input image, and change the background and change the lighting of the input image. So this was my input image, which was the pair of shoes from Farfetch, obviously. And then I also went to Midjourney, and I created this reference image. Not this one, this one. And this was what my prompt was. Really simple prompt, jagged, excuse the spelling mistake, beautiful Alps, mountains, HDR, snow-capped peaks. I could have gone and fiddled with this for much longer, and you can get some pretty insane results if you really want to go in depth and think about your reference images and get really, really unique lighting and textures. But I was pretty happy with that as it is. I wanted to do an Arctic shoot. And then I gave the prompt Arctic fashion photography photo shoot, adventure photography. These are kind of all of the base settings basically with Magnific. You can really, it's very easy to get started with, but you can tweak it to a fair level and change different models and try different settings to get the lighting and get the outputs really close to what you envision. But so this was the input image. And then once I ran that prompt with over the input image and with my reference image, I got this out. So pretty great. We were really impressed with this. But the quality is a little low, and there are some other criticisms which I'll cover in a second. So the quality is a little low. So what I next did was I went to Magnific, and I passed in this image as the input, and I just did Magnific upscale, which is what Magnific is typically used for. And you can see the difference between, this is the input image. So try and look at the fine details, particularly around here and how everything's a little pixelated and a little rough. And then once you ran the upscale over it, you see how much of a boost in quality you get. And suddenly this is looking like magazine worthy. So honestly, like we were and still are so impressed by this tool. We periodically look into AI imagery stuff, as you can see on my LinkedIn, and often found that the technical skills required to get something that is commercially useful are very, very high, and typically the results vary. And now tools like Magnific and Everart and these new application layer Gen AI imagery tools that are coming out are starting to make the learning curve quite a lot lower and make it accessible to designers and non-technical people to get stuff that is commercially useful. So criticisms of this tool, it's not 100% of the way there. As you may have noticed already, all of the Salomon branding is now gone to gibberish. The structure of the shoe has remained, which is great, but the branding there, the branding there, and the branding there, anything to do with text typically is going to be where you find a lot of faults. I wouldn't try to use AI to fix that. I would try to, and this is where having good design skills and having a solid knowledge of the Adobe suite comes in really handy. And why designers who already have traditional design skills are so well positioned to start adopting AI tools is that the best way to get this 100% there and fully ready for a magazine or for your socials would be to go into Photoshop and do the work, the manual work required to just get the lettering right and get the icons back on track. But yeah, so this is the static image that we ended up with and we're really impressed by. But we wanted to also test out Runway's new image to video tool. So Runway ML is a pretty great platform for a wide range of AI imagery tasks. As you can see, they've got a lot that you can do. You can generate audio, lip syncing, heaps of stuff. But what we really wanted to focus on was Runway's Gen 3, which is their new video generation tool where you can give text, you can give an image, and you can get a video out on the other end. That sort of tech's been around for a while, but Runway is particularly impressive because of the insane quality of the videos that it's able to produce. So as I showed you before, the video that I showed at the start of this video, I gave the input. How I got that was I gave the input image that we generated in Magnific, and I said a very simple prompt, low angle shot. That actually wasn't my prompt. This was my prompt. Low angle shot. The camera pans out to reveal the billowing winds and snowfall of the Arctic. And yeah, this is the video I got on the other end. Again, you can tell it's not real, but I think those artifacts are actually really interesting. And I think if you lean into the weirdness and some of the weird AI physics of these videos, I think it's quite satisfying, and I think you can take it in really interesting directions, way beyond trying to emulate what you might see in real life, but actually taking it into whole new realms of creative exploration. I did experiment with this prompt for a second video. Low angle shot, a pair of hands swoop in. I wasn't as happy with the results, but still pretty interesting. Pretty cool. Like you can see the shoes kind of fly off. Feels a bit unreal and uncanny valley. But, and again, it's placing a shoe that isn't quite right when it places down, so you'd only want to use the start of this video. But interesting nonetheless. Yeah, I think these tools open up a whole new range of possibilities for creatives and for teams who are trying to get more assets out of a limited budget and a limited time and a limited executional ability in terms of how much resources they can devote to promotional campaigns and creating assets for their product or their service. And these tools just put so much power back in the hands of the end user who might not have a huge budget and huge photography budget, or just give teams the power to explore. Yeah, one thing that I will note about Runway is that it's quite expensive to run. So you get about 1,000 credits a month, and each video cost me 100 credits. So just these two videos, the subscription is $15 US. So these videos cost $1.50 US each to produce. If you're using these in your client-facing or customer-facing socials, it's still pretty cheap. But again, if you're producing hundreds of videos, you have to start considering the costs of that. Obviously, it's a lot cheaper than getting a photography team out even for a couple hours, and you can do a lot more. But you do have to consider that these tools are not dirt cheap yet. You can't just infinitely produce assets at no cost. However, the direction we're heading is things get exponentially cheaper and exponentially higher quality about every 6 months. So yeah, that was Runway and Magnific. Hope you enjoyed, and as always, reach out if you have any questions or are interested in discussing more specific use cases. Thanks.